Hi everyone. Um, Hopefully the audio will be good on this location. I've used it before, so it should be okay. I just wanted to make a quick video for week 11, and I've been very much enjoying our interactions, and your reports on working with mystery were great, and discussion posts. And I thought I'd like to talk about, well, ultimately, I guess there's something that sort of comes up. And so when one, and I don't know if I can describe this or convey this, but it's something that has sort of come to me over the years, reflecting and studying about science and spirituality. And that is that we start off essentially looking at that field, that subject, without going into in any depth in it, just in our lives and everything. And we think that there are these two things, science and religion, and that these things are in some sense kind of on the same playing field, so that they can have a competition, right? Like it's a football game. Here are the religion, here's religion, and here's science, and they're going to go head to head. And so there's a sense in which we think of them as being of the same nature. I mean, this in a football game, this team is essentially the same as this team. It's made up of the same kinds of people. It's not. There's no sort of radical difference. In detail, there's difference, but it's no. It's the same kind of entity. A football team is a football team, and so we think that. It's like a competition. And why does it have, and the more common thing to say would be, why does it have to be a competition? Why can't they just accept each other? So we don't have to like fight it out. As fun as that might be in an actual sporting event, why can't we just support one another, get along? And I would hope, but it's actually a sort of a deep and subtle point, that it would be becoming clear that this is not the case. You do not have two things that are on the same playing field. They're not of the same nature. They're of extremely different nature. And so you can't, this sort of metaphor or allegory of whatever, the football match, doesn't work. You know, the team of science is on the playing field, and religion's somewhere else. It's not there, on this same playing field. It's on some other playing field. And and this is why, science and religion really can't talk to one another, because they're of extremely different nature. And what's happening through this course is we sort of try and start out in the realm of science, and then progressively move to the realm of spirituality, which is, one would hope, at the heart of religion. And in that movement, we see that we're moving from something, or a way of knowing the world, that is abstract, via abstract entities, mathematical symbols, or molecules, or subatomic particles. These are abstract entities. These are ideas that we have, and we understand the world through these abstract ideas. The Eckhart Tolle video for this week goes directly at this. Because when you move to the realm of religion, and here we're talking about the realm of true religion, then we're talking about direct forms of knowing, a direct connection to in religion often it's called God, but to the essence of this existence, the essence of our own nature and the nature of the universe, essentially, and but in a direct way. And this is what all of the people, the quotes of the various scientists I gave you were referring to. That they become aware of this. They became aware of this through going into quantum theory. Quantum theory made it clear to them that they were trying to understand the world via the abstract, and that never brought them any closer at all to this direct experience of existence, of reality. And so we're now beginning to study this direct experience, and we have to allow that it's possible to have this direct experience. You all have had some more or less experiences of this kind, of direct knowing. And you know that you know something very, very different, of a very different nature from what you might learn via abstract studies of this world, right? And so you're moving into a very different territory, and the question arises, so if one opens to this world of direct connection, direct knowing, then, and what is known via that direct knowing, which is the contact with sort of divinity, then this is if one allows, if one opens to that, then one starts to know something of a very, very different character. But that thing that one knows is essential. So you might think that subatomic particles are essential to the universe, and in their own way they are, but essential to the existence of subatomic particles is this consciousness that we're talking about. They wouldn't exist without it. Right? So one is sort of diving into what I call the depth of the universe, right? So, and I may have said this before, but bears repeating, is excuse me, if we allow that the universe, say, is dimensional in a very different way than we usually think about it. So it has what's sometimes called the extensive domain. And then it has the intensive domain. The intensive domain is the depth, and the extensive domain is the extent, if you see what I mean. So what we do in science is we focus on the extensive domain. But everything we study also has this intensive or depth domain, the universe as a whole. And then when one goes into religion, one is delving into this intensive domain. One is going to the depths of the universe, and in doing so, more and more to its essential nature, right? The essential nature of ourselves, the essential nature of it. We are not separate from it, so our essential nature is its essential nature in this frame of reference, and so in studying oneself and going deeply into oneself, one is also going deeply into the universe and everything that it contains. So its essential nature. So this depth dimension, one has to come to realize, since, science, why does science even exist? Would science exist without consciousness, or if we extend that to the idea of God or whatever, would science exist without it? No, it wouldn't. Science has come into existence through that. So it's like anything else around us. It's come into being through something that's more essential, more profound. And so science itself is secondary. We we have to ask ourselves, what is primary, right? And this is what we're talking about. In the realm of religion, it's the delving into what is ultimate, primary, essential. Everything comes out of that, as is indicated in the perennial philosophy, whether you buy the whole structure or not. It comes out of the deep oneness of things. And so science is itself an emergent phenomena, and therefore it itself cannot be primary, right? It's not primary, and something else is. And so the world of religion, true religion, moving into spirituality, is the diving into what this sort of fundamental component of existence and the cosmos. And we're starting to contact what is primary, what comes before science, what makes it possible even for science to exist, because it has to come through a being. It has to come, there's a being that's come up with science, right? And this is why I say spirituality is on a different playing field. And in fact, it ultimately is the only playing field. Right? Now, I'm giving you an opinion, and I'm not wanting to make you necessarily agree with me. But I'm giving you this view, this perspective I have, so that you might, if this view is of value, that you might sort of get it, see it. You guys are engaged in a very different kind of research than scientific research, and this research that you're engaged in is from my perspective, more fundamental, right? And it's the research into what makes it possible for something like science or existence to be, right? What makes that possible? And so you're heading beneath science, beyond science, when you're entering this realm of spirituality. And so to think of science and religion as being on the same playing field. Now, if we think of religion as being not the true religion, but more dogmatic, creed-oriented kind of religion, then you can put that on the same playing field with science. But true religion, which at heart contains mysticism and spirituality, true religion is not on that same playing field. It's under that playing field. It's the reason that playing field could exist in the first place. It's delving into that world. And so I wanted to try and express this to you, so that because you will encounter in the world this idea that science and religion are the two football teams, and in actual fact, what I hope sort of comes through in this course is no. Yes, in the sense that that a religion that is rote and text-based and very much belief-oriented in the sense of not informed by direct experience. Yes, in the sense then the two religions are on the same playing field, but not. The title of this course is Science and Spirituality, and I contend that spirituality lies at the heart of all the world's religions, and so in the core of the world's religions is a kind of exploration, a kind of knowing called gnosis that is of such a different character than that of scientific knowing. Scientific knowing is a detail compared to it in so many ways, and therefore it's like this. What one might sort of come to is this sort of talk of science and spirituality being at odds is actually a complete mistake, and so that the actual notion itself of science and spirituality being at odds or is actually a misleading notion right from the word go, and hence that's the reason why we don't find any solution to it ever. right? We won't find a solution to it ever, because it's not right to even speak in those terms. These are things that are fundamentally different nature, and one is derivative, right? And the other isn't. Now, spirituality, of course, gets expressed in a million different ways, and those expressions are derivative, but they point the different expressions and mythologies of religion, whatever, point to this something very fundamental, a fundamental or essential sort of truth. We can start to begin to talk about the word truth, which we haven't really been able to before this, when we talk about spirituality and different various means of getting to this essential nature of ourselves and the cosmos, right? So now, is there a way to put science on the same playing field as true religion or spirituality? And that is an interesting question. That is the question I think we should be asking from the word go. Is there a way that we can practice science such that it would be on the same playing field as the spiritual traditions, the true spiritual traditions? And I think that there actually might be. So what happens in true religion? For example, ways to study the Bible as they were closer to the origin of the Bible, studying the Bible in an allegorical way, studying it as a text that points to a deeper truth, because that truth can't be expressed in words, right? It's beyond words, beyond conceptual expressions. But nevertheless, it's treated as something that points to this truth. And we talked about the book of nature, right? The book of scripture and the book of nature. These things are books that are read metaphorically. They point to a truth that is beyond any possible expression. Things are treated as symbols, symbolic, in religions and in other places. So that's the realm of spirituality and religion. In science, we treat things as concrete, as being true in themselves, concretely true, literally true. This is the world of the literal truth. But, and that sort of then puts science onto this other playing field. It makes it a study of the extensive, if you see what I mean, the superficial part of the universe. But say we didn't do science that way. Say we actually treated the discoveries of science, and I've hinted at this before, also like metaphor, as symbols, like the book of nature or the book of scripture. So that these are things that point to a truth that is ever beyond science, right? Science never arrives at an ultimate truth. So, but it may point to an ultimate truth. And if we treated science that way, then we would be we would be putting science into a spiritual reference frame. We would be putting onto a spiritual playing field so that it could play with the others, and they would contrast with one another and complement one another in perhaps a beautiful way. And this is how I think one could take science from its current position, which is essentially the study of the superficial aspects of the universe, to something that actually is from the superficial, points to the deep aspects of the universe. And it could be part of a spiritual path. Science could be part of a spiritual path in that way. And hence then we would be really talking about science and spirituality. But science in its mainstream current form, we can't do that with, because of the way it's treated. And I hope this is clear. And if we do a Zoom session, perhaps at the beginning of next week, we could talk about this and see if we can sort of get clearer or deeper understanding of it, because this is crucial. I mean, we're coming to the essence of the issue here. Anyway, I hope you're all having a good week, and I'll be back in Sedona by the time we next talk, because I'm still in Colorado, and yeah, I'll just be looking forward to the rest of our interactions that's coming to. And I know some of you are sticking with the program in terms of going into the next course, which is really exciting and wonderful. But so yeah, let's talk about setting up a final Zoom session and try and see if we can come to not necessarily agreement, but a kind of a deeper understanding of this issue of science and spirituality based on everything that we've been through till now. Okay, you guys, have a good rest of the week.